I'm driving home, so I figure, let me bust out the camera and give you some content here, okay? The single most important thing that you can learn to do that will 100% help you to launch your success forward is learning how to communicate effectively. Okay, when I say communicate effectively, I mean literally you see, your thoughts have to be compressed into words, transmitted to another person, and then they have to expand it back into their own interpretation in their mind. And you want to know how to do that effectively so that you can, A, get what you and your family deserve. That includes the pay raise at your job. That includes negotiating the house, negotiating the car. That includes even getting the job, right, when you're going into an interview. And I can tell you, effective communication for me has allowed me basically to skip. It's allowed me to skip in a career that has a very traditional path of, if you don't know, I'm an airline pilot, right? So you attain all your ratings. It takes 250 hours to do this. Then you typically now become a flight instructor, because no airline is going to hire you unless you have about 1,500 hours. So imagine, you finish flight school with 250, and then really no airline will hire you until you acquire another 1,250. So you need 1,500 hours total. And most people will become flight instructors, which I didn't do. And the reason I didn't do it, there's several reasons, but I can tell you over the reason of why I didn't do it and how I even got away with not having to do it is by networking. Through networking and doing what I didn't want to do, which I'll expand on that in a minute, I was able to secure a job flying cargo with only 500 hours. There goes my phone. With only 500 hours. Let me set this back up. And how was I able to do something like that? I was washing airplanes the whole time that I'm going to flight school. I'm washing airplanes, not because I needed the $10 per hour. It was more because I wanted to network. I wanted to meet people that I knew for sure they could potentially help me on at a later time in my career, and they certainly did, because it was through the networking that I did at the aircraft, at the outfit where I was washing aircraft, that I was able to secure a position flying a cargo aircraft. Now, from there, the typical progression is to become a flight instructor, which I did, and I flew cargo. And then after that, you go to what's called a regional airline, small airline, which I skipped that, and I went straight to a major carrier. The entire process of going and skipping effectively, my communication ability 100% tied into that. What do I mean by communicate effectively? I mean that you need to understand how to capture somebody's attention, keep their attention by setting a hook that you are so memorable that they can't get you out of their head. Like, you go into the interview like I did, and I had 20 other people there dressed sharp, right, with a tie on like I am, hair's all combed up. They're literally twice my age, probably twice my resume. But I went in, set a hook, and you can do the same thing so that they continue to think about you throughout the day. You might be the first interview of the morning, and they're still thinking about you later on. Not only do you set a hook that enables you to ensure that they continue thinking about you, but you make sure that they understand how much you appreciate them. And there's nothing more attractive and more gravitational than being felt appreciated. Not because it's something persuasive to do, but because frankly it's just the right thing to do. And those of you that know me personally, you know where my heart lies. It's entirely around serving people, because frankly, at the end of this life, what else really mattered? You're not taking your money with you. You're not taking personal possessions. I mean, at least the way I see it, the legacy is how many people was I able to add value to? Was I able to be a positive beacon of hope and light and inspiration? I mean, that's just my feelings on life. And I am, of course, a spiritual person. So you want to know how to make sure the other party, A, feels appreciated. How you can ensure that you're memorable, you're infectious, you're gravitational. You literally pull people towards you based on body language, tonality, word choice. These are all things that you need to understand. Warren Buffett says, if you want to increase your value in the marketplace by at least 50%, learn how to communicate effectively. Because somebody else has everything that you want. So the somebody else part that has everything that you want is not, Warren Buffett doesn't share that. What he says is to increase your value by 50% to go get a communication course, as he did. He took a Dale Carnegie communication course. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why that increases your value so much is because it's so uncommon for people to be able to communicate effectively, to be able to influence others into closing the deal, closing the contract, negotiating your terms, and ultimately not just getting what you want and deserve, but helping somebody who is indecisive make the right decision for themselves. Every time I sell a product, whether it's at Munoz Mission or my flight school, I sell it with emphasis and I sell it with force, because I know genuinely deep down in my inner being, in my soul, that it is the right thing for them to do. Every product I sell, I do believe you should, if you don't have the money, put it on a credit card. Like 100%, our products work. With the programs we sell at the flight school, they work. I know that if you're going for training at any airline, at any training center, my product is going to help you. I know that my money program at Munoz Mission is going to help you. The communication course is 100% going to help you. And of course, the mental fortitude program, the motivation, is 100% going to help you. The book that I'm about to come out with, 1000%, that book was put together not even really to sell. It was actually put together for my daughter, for my 1-year-old daughter, Juliet. I wanted to take together what I learned that was not taught in schools. So many times, I know you felt this before, I'm going to school. Grew up in Merritt Island, attending public schools, and I'm learning all things that are great to know, but there's no real-world practical application. They're not teaching me how to buy a house. They're not teaching me about interest rates. They're not teaching me about a cash-out refinance. They're not teaching me about how to negotiate a car. They're not even teaching me about how to even get a car payment. What is auto insurance? What is home insurance? What is a millage rate when calculating property tax? Why did my property tax go up on year 2 in an astronomical amount that increased my mortgage $300 overnight? Like, real-world things that you should know are not taught in school. And you can ask any one of my family members, my sister especially, who sometimes would pick me up from high school, and she would say, man, how was your day at school? And I would say, terrible. I learned nothing. Which is why I left high school a year early, by the way. If you don't know, I went on my sophomore year. I went to the guidance counselor after school one day, and I said, how do I get out of here faster? Because by that point, I already knew I wanted to be a professional pilot. I wanted to fly. And school, frankly, was A, not teaching me how to fly, and it certainly was not teaching me anything of practical application. So she said I could attend online courses, which I did, in addition to the high school, right? So I was going to school, attending online courses, and then all summer long taking courses. So I basically took my 4th year and pulled it towards me by working overtime. And I left in the 3rd year, graduated. And then I continued pursuing, of course, my pilot licenses and ratings. But the reason I was so passionate about it is because I knew they weren't teaching anything, frankly, that I could use in all practical application, right? So the point I'm making is that this book that I put together it's a compilation of so many different things that I've gone searching for. Making money, managing the money, and multiplying the money. So I'm 27 now, coming up on 28. By 25, I had $250,000 already, and $250,000, you know, is a lot of money, but it's not a ton of money in the bigger picture. But to do it by 25, I felt, you know, quite thrilled and fortunate to have added a 0 to my age. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be 25 and my net worth be my age plus a 0. So I was able to do that. I'm coming up on 28 now. I far exceeded that. And I did it not by doing anything that they taught me in school. I did it by going out and researching and learning and studying at all hours of the day and night people more successful than I, and learning what they do with their money. How do they make how do they make all this money? How do they manage it? And then how do they multiply the money? And there's concepts in this money program included in the book, such as living on 40%, storing 40%, and living on 60% of your income, the 10% rule for credit cards and building credit. I talk about the different bank accounts you need and minimum amounts that you want in these bank accounts. Apart from that, which there's plenty more, but I also talk communication. There's some 26, 27 lessons on on understanding how to influence, how to get attention, how to keep attention, how to set hooks, how to pull objections out of somebody's head, how to force a yes answer, how to force a no answer. All things that, frankly, I wrote in the book to help my daughter when she grows up at some point, and she's going to have the same questions I did. And then, of course, the mental fortitude piece. How do you go through life and continue to have a winner's mindset even when you're not winning? How do you go through life and when it kicks you down because it's full of problems? And if you follow anything I say, I always reiterate, life is full of problems, man. How do you, in the words of David Goggins, whom I love, and you can follow him too, man, because he's awesome. How do you callous your mind, right? Callous your mind so that you can handle, you can tolerate all of the beatings and bruises that you're going to get going through the world and dealing not only with life itself, but with people that are in that world that potentially don't add value to you as you should be doing, but actually detract value from you. They're seen more as a negative in your life than they are a positive. And so these are all things that I put in the book as well. It's the three primary things: money, motivation, communication, I think are instrumental ingredients in your success flight plan, in your flight plan to success. And I use all types of analogies related to flying because, of course, I'm extremely passionate about flying, and I'm a professional airline pilot and the founder of a flight school based in Miami, One Step Prep. So you're going to hear me talk about getting your life off of autopilot, getting out of the passenger seat and getting in the pilot seat, talking about who's going to land the plane, talking about a flight plan, talking about jet fuel. These are all analogies that I tie into it just because of my one of my passions in my profession of flying aircraft. So look, I want to help you. Maybe you think I can do it, or maybe you don't think I'm the guy. You know, if you don't think I am, then that's okay, man. I mean, I'm not for everybody, but I do truly believe in every bone of me, in my soul, in my being, if you just give yourself the opportunity, if you become a participant in your own rescue, and if you don't say no, N-O, to K-N-O-W, to knowing, I am 100% confident. Heed what I say in the money program. Listen to the lessons on the interview. There's an interview prep program on the interviewing, which is a lot of communication concepts, and on the communication course. And listen to what I talk about in the motivational concepts. This program comes with a book. The book is about to be printed. Pre-order will be available here shortly. We're just getting the book cover together before we launch it to print. MunozMission.com is the website. I truly, truly hope that you give yourself the green light to help yourself. It's not about me. It's frankly about you. I mean, do you want to come through on yourself and get what you want and deserve? And I can tell you that in full transparency, I'm nowhere near where I need to be. But I'm also now just gelling together this formula that has taken me thus far. I'm going to take the exact steps, the exact processes, the exact blueprint, recipe, flight plan that I put in this book. And I'm going to continue to do that over the course of my life, over and over, right? Just basically rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I'm going to take exactly what I've done that has gotten me to here and rinse and repeat the same steps that are in this book that you can have and in the program online. And I know for sure that where I'm at right now is nowhere near where I'm headed. It's nowhere near where you're headed. You don't give yourself enough credit for the potential you have. Believe me when I tell you this. So, you know, I know that because I always thought, I want to become an airline pilot. I want to become an airline pilot. I want to become an airline pilot. I would get down on my knees. No exaggeration. I would get down on my knees and pray to God every night after flying my flight simulator, living at home, going to high school, and pray to God, please let me become an airline pilot. And thank you, God, I'm here and I've been able to do it. And I got here and I said, okay, I did it at 25. I'm 27 going on 28. Here I am at 25. I landed. I made it to the cockpit of an airliner. Now what? Now what? There has to be, this is why Elon Musk is going to Mars. He wants his mission to Mars to take off. He's doing the Neuralink, SpaceX, the artificial intelligence, the Tesla Motor Company, the Boring Company. I mean, he's doing all these things, and he's just one example of many people. Jeff Bezos doing Blue One. These are the people that, they don't need to be doing any of this stuff, but they do it. And it just goes to show you, like, how dedicated they are to not just the money, because it's not just the money. I assure you, when Elon Musk made his money on PayPal, or Mark Cuban made his money on broadcast.net, I mean, they could have called it done and said, okay, that's it, I'm good to go. But the fact of the matter is they continue to go out into the marketplace and provide value to people, because you reach a point where it's no longer about the money. And you're like, dude, if I was able to do this, how much more can I do? If I was able to become an airline pilot at 25, what else can I do? So I've always been of that entrepreneur mindset. I started various businesses that, frankly, none of which went anywhere. And I learned from them and finally produced my first cash flowing business, which was attempt number 4. And I've taken all these lessons along the way, put them in the book. And these are the things that I want to share with you. So I hope you give yourself the opportunity. Joe Munoz is the name. MunozMission.com is the website. MunozMission.com the website. Please, if I can help you, reach out.